Good morning, I'm Stephen Allen, Michael Jackson, I Just Can't Stop Loving You. So, we spoke yesterday about people who've spurred you on in life and who are, in your eyes, real heroes. Well, I'm joined by Mavis Nye from Whitstable, who supports and educates others with non-curable asbestos cancer, which she herself has. She's been recognised with a national honour that she collected last week. Tell us who your heroes are this morning. You can call 03459 811111. But Mavis joins me in the studio. Hello, Mavis.
Hello.
So first of all, tell us about the award that you've been given.
Well, the award was nominated. I was nominated by the Miso Warriors, rather secretly, and my friend Angela, she got it all together and she filled all the forms up. So, and then they notified me. So I was really honoured because it's come from the girls and the boys that have mesothelioma or have cared for people with mesothelioma.
Oh, this is, and I know you've brought it with us. I know it's a very visual thing, but I want to see, I want to have a look. Oh, look at this.
It's lovely.
Excellent. So when did you find out about the nomination and the award, and how does that all work?
They emailed me and told me, did I agree? Which Angela was quite annoyed about because she wanted it all to be kept secret. But yeah, they just emailed me. Of course I agreed, and I was very proud to be able to go up there to the House of Lords and to meet Larry Lamb. Larry Lamb presented it to me, and he's a lovely bloke.
Excellent.
So yes, it was a wonderful time.
Like a whole nice day out.
They give you the award, and then you go on to do a lap of honour around London on the buses. So you're by that time it's got dark, so we saw London by night, and then we went to Church House, where they then presented us with the actual certificates.
Okay. Now just to get more background on this, so I know more, can you explain mesothelioma? What actually is the condition, and what do we know about it?
It's caused through asbestos.
Right.
And asbestos is now, everyone's becoming aware that we've still got asbestos here. It might be banned, but it's still in our houses, DIY, schools. There's a lot to get this asbestos out of buildings now and out of our life. Because mesothelioma is a terrible cancer. It's uncurable. There is no cure. And up till now, only chemotherapy has been used on this. But I've been lucky enough to go on a trial, and I have lived 7 years now. And because I've been on a 2-year trial with MK3475, which is Keytruda.
Are you... I mean, is the phrase guinea pig appropriate?
Yeah, it is.
You are,
It's very appropriate, because what it is, I've been given a very high strength of it, and they then see, because it's phase 1, so they then see how much your body can tolerate it, and from that they then can go on in the future to give it up to other people.
And do we know how that's affected any of your tests and how things have shown up positive?
It's been marvellous. I'm the first person in the world to have so much shrinkage. And in fact, I went Tuesday, and the other scan result now shows it as to be, so the tumours are so small, they're so flat, and the meso is not showing in it. But the only thing is, of course, if it could still be there, laying there, the cells, but we don't know that. I now am teaching the doctors what happens from now on.
Wow, so this must be a great thing to see those results, but there must be an interesting type of scariness to it, knowing that, I mean, this is very much going into the unknown. Even the doctors don't know what's happening.
Yeah, definitely. I feel so honoured that, and yet so humble that I've been able to do this before the Miso Warriors, really, because they're still on chemos, and we want these drugs through. And it's only this year, really, that they are coming through in trials. And at last we've got drugs and not chemo. Chemo is not a cure, it never will be. It only knocks it back all the time until your body just can't take it anymore, and I'm afraid you do die. You know, it's awful. We're losing so many Miso Warriors. And you're given a 3-month death sentence at the beginning, and here I am 7 years. So I'm honoured.
How did that feel to be given the 3 months, and then when did you find out? Well, when did you find out there was longer than 3 months?
2009. When I had it, couldn't breathe, and they drained the fluid out my lung. They find the cancer cells in that fluid, and that you're told mesothelioma. And a nurse said to me, "Well, you've only got about 3 months to live," and I just devastated. I came home, I threw all my clothes out because I thought I've got cancer, so I'm not going to need them. And I changed all the furniture. I changed the bed and curtains because I didn't think Ray would cope. I even told him off because I said he wouldn't be able to wash net. Men don't wash net curtains, so I put blinds up. I was planning my death at that point. And then gradually I got the chemotherapy, gradually I knocked it down, but then I came to no more treatment. 4 years ago I came to, was it 4 years? Sorry, 2 years ago. Sorry, 2 years ago I came to no more treatment and I couldn't take it. And so I've been striving to find where all the trials are, and that's how I grew within, and I know all the doctors, they know me and they're fed up with me knocking on their door. But I finally got the one at Marsden, the Royal Marsden. They've been wonderful.
So just to get all this in order and get our heads around it, mesothelioma linked to asbestos. How did you come into contact with asbestos then?
Right. It was Ray.
So this is good time to bring Ray in. Ray, hello, you joined us as well today.
Hello.
Hello. So, I mean, this must have been a difficult journey for you as well. Before we get into the details on that, how were you linked to the asbestos?
I worked in Chatham Dockyard. I was an apprentice in there for 5 years and then went back in there. I went back in there after my national service for a final 2 years. So, unfortunately, ships are full of asbestos. They can't run without asbestos.
Right.
So it is literally everywhere.
So how did the asbestos get from the dockyard to Mavis?
On my clothes, in my hair, when I came home.
He didn't have protection in those days. They didn't have protection to work
Well,
with.
they never told us it was dangerous, so
No.
we didn't know any different. And she was washing my clothes and shaking them out, ready to put them in the wash. That dust, that's where she got it. It only takes one fibre. That's all.
All right. I was going to say, how many years were you doing in this situation, being exposed to it?
I got married at 20, 18, 19, and at 20, really, Ray was in the dockyard, and that's when I was doing his washing. I just got married, so I was doing his washing, and it lays dormant, and 48 years.
I mean, you must have had this thought as well, that, Ray, you were the one working with it, exposed to it far more, you'd imagine, for enough to be on you that the washing of your clothes causes mesothelioma, and you've not been affected by it.
I've got scarring and lung damage, but I've not got full-blown mesothelioma.
Because he hasn't got the cancer cell.
And do we know how that happens then? How some people don't get the cancer cell and some do?
Well, when I asked the doctors, they said some people have a cancer gene and some people don't. And if you have a cancer gene, you're more susceptible to get mesothelioma. And obviously I haven't got the gene, so I've been spared so far.
That must still have had an emotional impact on you, and I don't want to probe too far, but how did you feel when you heard Mavis was diagnosed?
A couple of years I felt that I was the one that gave her the death sentence, and it was very difficult to deal with. But we talked to each other, and Mavis said, it's not your fault, you shouldn't feel guilty. It's down to the powers that be and the government that never gave us suitable protection.
So
that's the thing that we're campaigning for, suitable protection and not having.
What's happened is that I've joined Hazmat, and they asked me to be their patron of their charity. And so what I'm doing really is working with the people today, the young men and women that are stripping the asbestos out, because they've got to make sure their protection is right and all the gear that they use today is right. And you forget that if you've got a mask on and they get stubble, then they lose the seal.
Yeah.
And so that can be dangerous to them. There's so much, they're in a lot of danger. So the point is with Hazmat Foundation it's going to be a charity, or is a charity, we're working well, and a charity whereby to help some money go to research, but some money go to help the actual people and their families and give them a day out or something nice to do, you know, so that you are so alone when you're given these death sentences, and you have to search and research and find people. Well, not everyone does that, and they sit at home and they die, and their families are all around them and that. But we will be able to help the children and them to have a nice day out or something, whatever they want to do.
So, in some sense, your story would have been very different if you weren't so proactive.
Yes.
You've saved yourself.
Yes.
In many
I think
ways.
I have, by being so curious about it all. Yeah. And Google. They call me the Google Queen.
Is that as simple as that? Your first
I'll
search
keep
started
Google.
there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, 18 months ago, before she went on this trial, they'd given up at our local hospital. They said, I'm sorry, there's no more treatment. Just go home and get on with basically whatever time you've got left. But they didn't know Mavis to that extent, because she's not... I often joke and say mesothelioma didn't know what it had taken on when it took on Mavis.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, so you've been doing, and this is World Cancer Day. Hopefully we can talk about that.
Cancer Day,
Because
yes.
we've just got to go and get some news. But so we'll talk about World Cancer Day and also your campaigning. And you're a blogger.
Yes, I'm a vlogger.
Very modern day phrase. We'll delve into
I'm
that.
very much into social media.
We'll find out more about that as we see what you've got planned for the future. It's coming up to 11:20. It's BBC Radio Kent. Rose has the news, starting with a report from the Independent Police Complaints Commission.
Kent Police and Ambulance Service have